Irish who died in World War I. Yeah.
You're in the Kilmainham jail, correct?
Yes.
Alright, what do you think of it?
Excellent. It was awesome.
Very cool.
Okay.
A little morbid. Yeah.
A little morbid?
Yeah.
I felt bad smiling in pictures.
No, I mean, here, I like it because we live, like, in the dorms, you know,
Yeah.
like, with the students, and we cook dinner together, and we, like, hang out in the common room, so that's probably one of my favorite. Yeah, get to know people from Ireland and England, and, I mean, I've been, like, offered to go home with some of them for the weekend, so.
I mean, I guess the short answer would be I definitely have learned a lot since being here. Yeah, I think a lot of what Americans learn about the conflict is through movies. You know, like I've seen The Boxer, I've seen In the Name of the Father, Name My Father. So you kind of have this skewed Hollywood perspective of what life here is actually like, and then it's really fascinating and I think really important to me to actually be here and to see that, you know, there are normal people. There isn't, you know, bombs exploding all the time. There is a peace process. There is a development, a positive development, which is noticeable. And I mean, it's also good to get here and actually be able to, you know, experience life.
Yeah, I try to self-teach myself the conflict in my senior year of high school. That didn't go over very well because it was very confusing and I wasn't there and I couldn't actually experience it.
And it's definitely, it's interesting to be able to be here and live in Belfast and then be able to read about the history and how that is in context now. I mean, even I think in the United States, I don't think people really understand what's going on here, because a lot of people I talk to from home don't even know that Northern Ireland and the Republic are different, like, countries. So I think it's sort of taken for granted that, but being here, you can totally see, like, what's really going on.
It's such a dense subject and such a dense conflict that you really, being here has helped put it in context, especially going out and seeing the murals and seeing the peace walls, and you realize that the conflict, even though people want to admit it's over and want to admit that there's nothing wrong anymore, it's just still so ingrained in their lives, and this generation, you know, people we hang out with now, I think they want to admit that it doesn't exist and it doesn't affect them when truly it
definitely
really does.
How could it not?
Yeah. I see it in more, I guess you can say, like, tension between racial groups.
Yeah.
Back home, mainly blacks and whites still, or just, I don't know, gays and the anti-gay. I don't know how to put that, but there is tension back in the States. Not maybe to the violent degree of Belfast and in Northern Ireland, but
I mean, certain places.
You can.
At Occidental, I do, like, social justice. I'm a critical theory and social justice major, and we don't really talk about religion. I mean, we'll talk about, like, sexuality, race, post-coloniality, but I mean, it's definitely really interesting here in, like, studying conflict between religious groups. But there's definitely parallels, I'd say.
It's definitely a different atmosphere versus, like, universities back home, but I wouldn't say it's any different, like, socially. School itself is different with the aspect of here you have your major papers, and that's the only thing that you submit, and people take that for advantage here. They're like, oh, I have 8 weeks to do this paper, and then they realize that 2 weeks comes around and they're like, my paper hasn't even been started. So that's very much of a challenge. And also the reading, you do all the readings for your classes. That's some classes that's very different from, and some classes it's very similar to in the States. So I guess it depends the course load.
Port Rush was really cool when we went surfing there. I loved that. it's kind of like an Atlantic City, I guess, for Northern Ireland.
Right.
It's kind of, apparently there's quite a culture around it, which I would never have guessed because it's cold. But there's like the surf shop we went to does really good business. There was tons of people out surfing, even though it was either late September, early October. There's these DVDs called like Children of the Norn, which is like the Children of the Corn ripoff. And it's like just all these different surfers who go all around Northern Ireland and surf. And our friend Philip, who surfs a lot back home, said that it was really good surf. I mean, it was my first time, so I had nothing to compare it to.
Oh, we went to Galway.
Yes.
And Galway was so cute. It was really
Fabulous.
quaint. It seemed like a
Christmas
stereotypical Irish town. Like, there's a lot to do, lots of pubs. The scenery was beautiful. We walked by the water.
Oh, Galway's awesome. Galway is one of the nicest places I've ever been. It's a fairy tale. I cannot say enough good things about Galway. Galway, we all actually agreed, the four of us, we said it felt like Christmas.
Come to Belfast.
Yeah, it's fun.
No, you
Adore
get to come to Belfast because not only is it an interesting place to be because of historical context and just it's a beautiful city, but it's also kind of a center where you can go anywhere in Europe. Like, we've been to the Republic. We're going to Dublin next weekend. I really still want to go to Scotland. And that's a boat a ferry away. Plane tickets here, don't cost that much. So it's definitely a good hub to be nearby to get to places you want to go.
And it's not like other study abroad programs where you're going just with people from the United States. Like, you'll actually be interacting with people from all over Ireland, England, even Europe. So that's what I really enjoy about it.
Be curious. That's all I say. Be curious. You'll keep an eye out. Keep looking for things even if you don't want to look for them, because you'll always find something.
And it's been great. There's obviously a lot more to learn. It's been a month, and we still have our trips to Derry and Dublin, and it'll be nice to get down to the Republic and see maybe a different side of Ireland or the Free State. I mean, I guess on a positive note for CIEE, not through Kenyon, I had to. Initially, the program that was offered is through Arcadia. I think Arcadia or Acadia. I can't remember which. But that program was really unorganized. It was, you take 3 classes, there was no like homestays, there was no planned trips, it was pretty much just you come and study at Queen's, and take the usual course load, but I much prefer the system in place with CIEE, and I hope that becomes the preferred program that they offer. There's a girl here right now from Kenya as well on Arcadia, so hopefully we can compare our experiences. She's not having that great a time.